So this morning I was showing you guys some of the new calls that I had kind of picked up from Walmart, Wally World. Super common calls you guys will probably pick up anywhere. I know there's guys who love old school calls. I do too. I've got a couple of them at home. But for the new starting duck hunter, you know, calls are one of the most, I wouldn't say even important, but one of the most celebrated parts of duck hunting. It's one of the most unique parts of duck hunting. So this is stuff that'll get you, out there. So the first one I have to show you guys is the Buck Gardner Double Nasty. This is basically the bar by which I measure most, if not all, of duck calls. Pretty much, this call can do it all. This call can do everything that most guys will be looking for. This call right here is super reliable, tuned right out of the box. It sounds like a duck. You could run this duck call your whole life and never need another one. Let's give it a little shot. I remember I'm new to this, so at about a year's time, you'll probably be right around where I am, if not better than me, after your first season. So just give it a couple quacks and see how it runs. Forgive me, first call of the day. So you can't put in too much pressure, otherwise it will kind of try to lock up right there. I'm gonna try to hail again. It's all right. It's not super loud. Molded call, polycarbonate. I can see the molding lines, but I like Buck Gardner poly calls because they're really thick. Like the plastic is really, really dense. So it's not. I've seen plenty of older calls where the plastic is just super thin, feels really cheap. This is actually pretty heavy grade plastic. Let's see if I can Cajun squeal on this thing. It's the Cajun squeal. Popularized down in the South. A lot of guys do it out west too. So it's you basically pushing up with your tongue to create some more pressure in there. And what it does is that there's a squeal behind the call. You'll hear the grunt of the call come out, and then it'll finish up with a higher pitch. So, yeah, a little bit. Sounds really raspy to me for some reason. Maybe it's because it's a double reed call. I'm sure you guys know what a double reed call is by now, as you guys have searched around on the internet. But if you don't, inside of the call, there's a reed that makes the noise that you hear. It can be 1 or it can be 2. For beginners, it's easier to use a 2, but at the same time, I like using a 2 too. The single reed allows you basically a longer vocal range, like lows and highs, and I think usually they feel a little bit freer to me. But the double reed is, I don't know, I think it'll kill a duck. So let's try a different call. The other call that I recommend, aside from a double nasty, is the Echo Poly, the Echo Timber Poly. That's also a really good call. I don't have one on me right now, but that's a call that a lot of guys will use, and is actually really, really good especially for the money. Sounds like a duck straight out of the box. See if I can get one for you guys another day. Next at Wally World for us here is a Zink call. Zink Powerhen 2 PH-2 or PH-2 Powerhen. This is a really easy call for beginners. This is super easy to use. This one, like, it takes almost no breath control. You almost can't blow it wrong. It also takes very little air. It's a little bit quieter though. it's a kind of higher pitched, honestly. Some people call it like a younger hen. You know, as we'd like to personify animals, and I don't know if this is true or not, but you know, as a woman gets older, as a man gets older, and in this case, you know, everyone's assuming that as a duck gets older, it'll sound lower and raspier, and this sounds more like a young hen, which isn't a bad thing. Well, see, it overloads really easy. Really good call for like younger folks, or people who aren't used to the volume of air that you have to push out for certain calls yet. Quieter, definitely quieter, made out of poly too, but feels really good. Nice, and you can see that, you know, between the exhaust and out here how much material there is. Feels really good. Quiet, but sometimes you need a quiet call to finish them. Super easy to call. If you're unsure of which one to get, and you know, you're not sure of, you know, your own ability yet, and you think that you're gonna be getting like nicer, better stuff in the future, I get this. Definitely, it wouldn't be your only call. The last one I have here is I don't believe that this is a beginner call at all. It says hand-tuned and easy to use, soft polycarbonate. I don't even think it's soft either. This is a Zink ATM green machine and poly. So this one's a little bit more expensive, maybe 10 bucks more than the other guys. I think the other guys are around like between $25 to $30, and this one right now is like almost 40, I think. If not, it was 40. But it's pretty cool looking, I'll tell you that much. Real thick, heavy grade polycarbonate. All the calls are molded polycarbonate calls. They're not they're not machined out of acrylic like the more expensive calls are. You don't really need them, but I do enjoy acrylic calls too. These will be just fine. This call has a very short barrel. This right here, take this out. This is called the insert, okay, on a J-frame call. Why is it called a J-frame? Because, well, it comes down and it comes back up like that, the frame. There's usually a little wedge in here, usually made of cork. This one's looks like plastic or rubber. And these are the two reeds I was talking about earlier. So in this call, you see this is the insert and this is the barrel. The barrel is super short. Oh, it's got O-rings, which is good too. Helps with the fit and preventing water. So you can see that tone board, which is the top part of the frame, is right near the top of that barrel. What happens there is that you don't have much load with air, and air goes through really fast. So on calls that have like a longer barrel, you'll feel more pressure, but it's kind of like bagpipes, where you've got a reservoir of air to use as it comes out. This will be just my lungs going through. This is why I say it's not a very beginner-friendly call, because you're hammering it. There's guys who have shown this call off on YouTube, and it sounds low, it sounds flat. That's because they're not using enough air. This is what they sound like. That's not how this call works. This call is not like that PH-2. That's the same amount of air I was using in that PH-2, right? Doesn't sound good. This call, you have to hit it harder. Super commanding. So when those ducks are out there, there's a reason why they call them duck commander. You tell them that, hey, come back, I'm here, come over here. Ooh, locked it up. So this one actually Cajun squeals all right. You just have to really set that air fast. I can hail on this pretty well too. You really can reach down like and get really into this call. Super raspy too. It's a lower hen. I actually really like this call, but that's because I've had a year of experience calling other calls already. So if you're starting new, I do not recommend this call. But if you want to challenge yourself, you're gonna sound terrible at first and everyone's gonna hate you. But if you get the hang of this guy, I think that you'll be pretty well off to a lot of other calls. At the same time though, this call almost leaves me out of breath. So there's guys out there who are really gonna be like, man, dude, you suck. I'm like, I know, but as a beginner, I wouldn't want you to be in the blind with me and going, I mean, I wouldn't hate you, but at the same time, I wouldn't recommend, you know, going out with your buddies as the new guy and going, let's see some feet chatter. It actually feeds really well. Really good call. I probably won't be hanging on to it just because I have so many calls, but if I do, I might buy the acrylic version. But at the same time, I think that the call looks great. I think it sounds great. That's it for calls, guys. We'll do another segment on calls later as I accrue more calls and I find them on the way.